Using a rowing machine can be a great full body workout, but are rowing machines safe for your back? In this video, I'll show you how to use a rowing machine safely, even if you are getting a little older or if you do have some lower back pain. Now, keep in mind that the purpose of this video is to help you exercise safely for fitness. It's not to win the CrossFit Games or make the US rowing team. So some of the tips are a little bit different than you've seen in other videos. That's the reason why. So the first step is getting set up correctly on the rower. You want to adjust the foot pedals and the pedal straps to where the strap goes across the break of your toe. That'll give you the maximum amount of foot and ankle mobility as you're sliding back and forth. Next, slide the seat back so that your knees are straight and find a comfortable sitting position where you feel your weight through your sits bones. Next, we want to find a spinal neutral position. And that's really important because we want to try to stay as close to this position throughout the stroke as possible. So go into an extreme of spinal extension, arch your lower back as much as you can, and then roll all the way back on your sits bones. Really round out your lower back and then find a neutral position in between. So go all the way into extension, all the way into flexion, go back and forth and find kind of a happy medium between those two positions. Once you find that spinal neutral position, you're going to try to stay as close to that as possible as you move back and forth. So the movement should occur at your ankles, your knees, and your hips. There shouldn't be a ton of movement in your lower back. You will naturally round out just a little bit as you come into this position, and you'll extend a little bit as you're in the back part of the stroke. But you want to try to stay as close to neutral as possible. So we'll start out in the bottom position known as the catch. And in this position, you want your ankles dorsiflex to their maximum. If you do have some stiffer ankles, your heel may come up off the pedal a little bit, but you want to drive it down as quickly as you can as you're coming back into your pull. Now you're going to initiate the movement with your feet. So even though it's kind of a pulling motion, you're really pushing with your feet before you pull with your arms. And so the sequence here, you're going to straighten your knees and drive your heels down into the pedals, keeping your arms relatively extended. You're going to do that until your hands come past your knees. Now you're going to start to lean backwards a little bit, but the motion should be hinging at your hips, kind of like doing a deadlift. So your spine is not rounding and extending and rounding and extending. You should first drive with the feet, extend through the hips. And if you do have some stiff hip flexors, it often helps to keep tension in your abdominals. So you're not using your back extensors to pull backwards. You're actually using your abdominals to stop you from going backwards excessively. Then finally, at the end of that, once you've generated the momentum with your feet, extended through your hips using your glutes, then your arms just kind of follow. If you feel like you're doing this type of workout, you're using your arms way too much. So it should be push with the feet, extend the hips, pull back. Then there's a recovery stroke. So all of the work during rowing is done during this part of the movement. Then you have a recovery. And if you're going back and forth like this really fast, you're actually wasting a lot of energy. If you think about if you were actually in the water, once you pull, your boat's going to glide forward. And if you put your oars back in the water too soon, it's going to stop the momentum that you've generated with your pull. So you want to pull back, and then you'll recover by letting your arms come out, trunk come out, and then bend the knees. So you pull, arms out, trunk back, bend the knees. Drive, arms out, drive, arms out, trunk back, bend the knees. Drive, arms out, trunk out, bend the knees. Drive, arms out, trunk out, bend the knees. In real time, it would look a little bit more like this. Now that's kind of the ideal rowing stroke, but everyone's built a little bit differently. Some people may need to turn their knees in or out a little bit more to allow for different orientations of their hip. If you have some knee arthritis, you may just need to limit how deep you go. So you may not come as far down into the catch position. You may just start with a little shallower knee bend, and that's okay. Additionally, if you have some stiff hip flexors, it does probably help to do some stretches for your hip flexors, and you can learn how to do that in this video over here. But before you go, if you found this one helpful, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to our channel so you can get notified of our future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.